afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever in this world you might be. My name is Jack Branch, and this is the Healthy Wealth Show episode number 31. It's the day after tax season. Hopefully your pockets don't feel too light, those bastards. But at any rate, we do this show twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, highlighting people that are doing some exceptional things, whether it be in the financial realm, from an entrepreneur standpoint, from a health perspective, or even a faith perspective. And today, I'm really excited to, interview a gentleman that I'd met maybe a couple years ago. Our paths just kind of crossed, and in studying a little bit more about the business they do and the world of real estate, it became obvious to me that this guy really was thinking different. And it's kind of like Apple. How can Apple beat Dell and all these other people when they really do, one and the same? They manufacture computers, but, really I think you're going to get a whole difference if you're a real estate investor, if you're selling a property right now, maybe even thinking about renting it, what the value might look like in terms of integrating in with JW Property Services. So I want to introduce a gentleman that's been in business for quite some time, him and his lovely bride, and they run JW Property Services in the greater New Orleans area, and that's a friend of mine, Josh Wilson. How you doing today, Josh?
Hey, what's happening, Mr. Jack?
Good to see you, man.
Doing well.
I loved your video last week as you're starting to cut some, and you and your buddy were cracking up. That was hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, that was good stuff. We've gone through 2 episodes now, and that is actually it's a highlight of my week. So it's real fun, and we try to make it fun for everybody and give some insight to the real estate market. But the bloopers are they're something else.
That made me laugh my tail off, I got to tell you. I think you're onto something great. So everybody loves real estate. I mean, you love real estate. What got you into being a real estate investor yourself, and kind of give some background on how you opened up JW Property Services?
Yeah, Jack. So first, how this kind of all started. Used to watch HGTV. Right after Katrina, for us to get into real estate was through property management. But we actually had no idea on how, property management worked, real estate investing worked. This was kind of the way for us to get our feet wet. So I ended up going on a job interview with a property manager, learned the ropes from him, and, I saw, a vision of where we could possibly take this and utilize technology that I felt was not being utilized in New Orleans. I feel like New Orleans, for whatever reason, when it comes to technology, we're like light years behind everybody else. So this was right after Katrina, too. So things were really, struggling to get back. So we kind of, learned the ropes from him, took technology into our own hands, and we literally did everything from cutting the grass to, I was learning how to, paint apartments and rekey locks. And, I'm still learning every single day along the way. So, there were so many different things that I learned. Then Brianne kind of took over, and she, did another side of the business where she was learning how to, write a lease, how to negotiate terms, and, all those good things. And so, when you say property management, there's just so many different entities that are involved in managing a property. So, sorry, that was a long answer.
No. I mean, Katrina definitely forced a lot of our hands to do things different, didn't it?
It sure did, and we kind of started out, after Katrina, everybody, properties were minimal, so there was a lot of renovations going on, et cetera. So we really got to learn how to rebuild a house from the ground up, and I think that's also played a lot in our success today, just because we know so much, have so much knowledge. About these old historic homes.
I was impressed when we met just in how a short amount of time, how you all just basically jumped into this marketplace and built an exceptional business, not only the holdings you had personally, but also for the others when we met. I was just, so what was it? Yeah, real estate just intrigued you from a standpoint that was a hard asset versus investing in the stock market and other things? I mean, we've kind of spoken to that.
I think, Jack, we've spoken about this before. It's one of those things where I'm not a control freak per se, but I want to be in control of my own destiny, right? And so I felt that if, I gave my money to someone else, or if, I invested in something I didn't know, then I would have no control over how that investment performed. And so, I know real estate. I feel like I know it well. And so that's why I poured my time and effort into that, and I learned it. That's kind of, I'm probably, I could say I'm teetering to the point of maybe I should diversify a little bit, but, I think Warren Buffett always says, stick with what you know and do it well. And, and Brian always says, I'd rather be a jack of, I'm trying to think of the terminology, jack of all trades and a master of none. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's what somebody told her one day, but, we kind of want to do the opposite. So, we'd rather be a master of one, than a jack of all trades.
People can get themselves spread too thin as well, right? If you're not really good at one thing, you're probably not real good at much. And that's what I felt when in meeting you was you found a lane to run in. You saw an opportunity after Katrina. You saw a way to deploy capital as well as help people that had a real need out there, and you've solved that problem. And the people that can solve the biggest problems usually do quite well. I mean, there's a colleague of mine who sold, I don't know how many properties. They managed 15 to 17,000 in the greater Dallas area, and they did quite well. They walked away. A big national firm, bought them. But talk to us a little bit about, what makes JW Property Services maybe different than what people think the traditional, you spoke about technology, but what are some other attributes? I've seen you've done some stuff where if people have broken things, there's no worries, things are just going to get taken. What have y'all done to really differentiate yourself in the property management space?
We've got some crazy things going on that when it comes to being a real estate investor, people are like, you are absolutely nuts for trying to do that. And, if people say that, then I feel like I'm doing something right, and so we actually have a few different things. So first off, I would say, for us to be different, in the property aspect, is that and what I mean by we were investing as an investor. And so when somebody comes to, we do the same approach with our properties as we do there. So it's not like you're going to go hire a real estate agent, but that do not have an investment property, but they are property managers. And I don't feel like that is, I don't feel like that's, the right way to go. I feel like if you come to us, you have that experience behind it, and we're kind of there with you. We're investors ourselves. Even if you're not an investor, you're just looking to buy and hold, the property for a little while. We understand that too. We've been there before. We've had flips go wrong. We've had flips go right. So we've kind of, had those pain points that a lot of people, they don't have to experience themselves. They can just come to us and we can give them the advice and the experience that we've had.
But also, wisdom is learning from other people's mistakes, right? And that's a real key thing is, you could go down that road by yourself and try to figure it out. But you could listen to somebody that's been down the road to avoid those pitfalls. That's good.
Yeah, we could save you a lot of money.
And headaches.
And that's really save your money. There's shady contractors out there. There's, there's real estate laws. There's eviction laws. There's so many different things that people don't think about when they go to rent out a property, that you have to treat it like a business, because once you decide to rent your home out, it's now a business. At least it is to our eyes. We treat it like a business. And I think if you treat it like such, then you have more success of the way it operates. And that's kind of how we operate. Every property operates as its own. And if it can't operate within its own, then we sell it and move on.
Yeah, you take all the emotion out of it, right, and kind of keep it logical, and
Absolutely.
because people usually lose money when they get too emotional, either on the buy or the sale or whatever.
So, absolutely. And I wanted to tell you, you kind of touched on it a little bit. So we do some interesting things in the property management space that a lot of people aren't doing yet. One of them is our maintenance labor program, which is pretty cool. Kind of like a home warranty, I call it, on steroids for real estate investors. It's basically you could pay a monthly fee and you have access to all our maintenance guys pretty much throughout the month. There's no cap. So if you use 20 hours, if you use them, doesn't matter. There's no cap. And so the only limitations that we have on it are a list of repairs that we will authorize, within the maintenance program. But we've actually had owners and clients of ours, they pay that one monthly flat fee, and we've had a property where a tenant has moved out. We go in there, we repaint the property, we make our little punch list, we get the property back on the market, and the owner's still just paying that monthly fee, and there's no interruption in cash flow. So the only interruption may be is you may have to pay for, paint costs or, whatever a toilet flapper may cost. But other than that, that's it. They're paying their $98 and everything's still rolling. And even to further accelerate that, we also do a rent protection. So we'll guarantee the rent for you. Let's say, for instance, you got $1,000 a month, and we will guarantee you that rent for $1,000 a month, for a small a monthly charge. And so you combine those two together, and you almost have kind of a surefire way, I call it, for owning a piece of real estate. It's kind of crazy, but we've had really good success. We're actually in our second year with both programs, and I think we have an 80% or 90% retention rate of the clients staying on it.
Wow, that's good. That's really thinking outside the box. I love what you said when people tell you that, stuff won't work. Because I found that usually the people that doubt something you're doing or trying new, usually either one, they're too afraid to do what you're willing to do, or B, they like to just be in, with the masses. And I've found that usually people that step out have extraordinary results, and has that always been an attribute? Brianna brought that to the table, or y'all have always just been kind of stepping against the grain?
Yeah, she'll tell you that I am she's got to keep me in my box sometimes, she's got to she's the one that's calm and collective and thinks clearly. I am like the entrepreneur. I fly off the handles and try to, do all kinds of things, save the world. And, she brings me back down to earth and, and tells me, okay, calm down, let's think this through and let's go this way about it. And, take my entrepreneur hat off and, try to think more logically. But yes, that's how it's always been, man. I used to, I remember back, I was, I was 12 years old, and there was a guy by the name of Brad Richdale. I don't know if people remember that, but he used to be this guy on TV. He would sell these infomercials about real estate. And, so actually that could be where it started from. And he was flipping properties, and he had, these yachts and the Porsche and all this other stuff, and told my dad, I want to do that. So I saved up enough money and I bought his infomercial packet, and I ended up taking that information and reselling it to people in the neighborhood. and I made money. And so I did that, and then I kind of spiraled and did some other things, and then I ended up owning a DJ company, and that DJ company actually turned into a wedding production company, and then I sold it to one of the employees and his dad, and then I got into property management after that. So I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit inside of me, and I don't think it'll ever go away.
Well, that's good. You've got Brianna on the compliance end, right? Making sure you're crossing the T's, dotting the I, and you have Josh really, not thinking outside the box, but building a whole new damn box. And That's what it really takes, you know. If you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, that's the definition of insanity. I mean, so many people out there after Katrina looked at that as, oh my God, how are we going to make it? And you took a problem and created an opportunity. You saw the vacuum, you saw all this huge growth, and I love that about entrepreneurs is when there is a problem, if you can solve it, you usually get paid very well and fairly for it. And so, you know, I'm applauding you for the work you've done. Now, what type of people are good candidates for JW Property Services?
Yeah, so you know, we work with real estate investors. Obviously, those are a large portion of our portfolio. But you know, a kind of new portion to the portfolio has been, I say new, but new being over the past few years, has been you know, people that either can't sell a house or they say, you know what, we want to come back in 2 years and we don't want to sell now, so you know, we're just going to rent it out. That's another portion. You know, we've had people that have, you know, did the vacation rental route and then decided, you know what, it's not for them, so they want to just run it out long term and use it as an investment. So anybody that, you know, has a piece of real estate and they want to turn it from a liability into an asset, then we're your company.
I love that. Turn a liability into an asset. So often people think just because you buy a piece of real estate, whether it's where you lay your head at night or for investment to generate cash flow, that it's automatically an asset on the balance sheet. But until it truly puts money in your pocket, it's really a liability, isn't it?
You are correct. And I tell Brian this all the time, and people think I'm, and I tell her, if I were again, I would rent, and I would take the money that I was going to use for my house and use it to invest. And you know, people think I'm crazy, but if you actually sit down and do the numbers, you actually will come out ahead if you rent versus if you know, purchase a piece of property. I know that sounds nuts, but it really is. You could actually triple your return by taking that money, investing it, and just renting and letting somebody else take care of those problems. You know, when the AC goes down, the property taxes, the insurance, your general liability. I mean, I can go on and on.
Those don't go away if the property's paid off. You know, I mean, there's a lady I know in Malibu that the taxes and the insurance were so cost prohibitive. Yeah, it was paid off, but it was costing her 6 figures a year for taxes and insurance. And just because it was paid off, it didn't mean those bills weren't going away. So we created a strategy to make it become an asset for her. You know, sure, the kids were probably going to get less of the house when she, you know, does end up leaving the greener pastures. But in the interim, she was able to still generate a substantial amount of cash flow over and above, you know, the carrying costs. So what's next for JW? Where do you guys see yourselves going? I mean, the next 3 years, 5 years? I mean, anything that, you know, you're looking at or think is going to add to the overall mix? It's going to just bring more value to what you're already bringing a hell of a lot of value to in the marketplace?
Yeah, well, you know, one thing I hope the Fed continues to be bearish on their interest rates. I think that is a huge indicator about the way the real estate market's going to be this year. So I think if they keep pumping the brakes on that, I think our personal portfolio is going to grow in real estate. We're actively buying right now, and you know, we're kind of telling our investors the same thing. I feel like you know, we've been seeing some good opportunities out there. Property management side, you know, we're running and gunning. We actually have a property management acquisition. We're kind of in the works now of negotiating. But that's kind of, you know, we're getting there. But that's in the horizon. And, but yeah, we're running and gunning this year. So we're hoping to make 2019. Oh, we've actually, one thing, we've hired, a business development and a sales agent, Mike Cinquemano. He's actually on the videos with me, and yeah, he's doing great. He's getting out there, he's hustling, and yeah, so it's one thing we've added. You know, Brian and Mike are doing the sales, so pretty cool.
So what do you think? Thoughts on Airbnb? Y'all, looking into that at all? Or I mean, each parish or county is kind of getting real weird. New Orleans shut it down. Jefferson's really shut it down. But there's a colleague of mine that's got 60 properties, and he was renting month to month, and he's moved them all to Airbnb before everything shut down. What are your thoughts on that?
Airbnb. Look, we used to do short-term rentals. And we got out before the regulation started, and I saw the writing on the wall. And I think it's just going to be, overregulated. I don't think they're going to be giving out many more permits, and I don't think a lot of people want it. It's great for investors. I think the returns are good. Property management side, like I was saying earlier, kind of stay in your lane.
Yeah,
we're good with 1 to 4 unit single family style home. Airbnb for us, it just doesn't work. I think if you're going to do Airbnb, I think you just need to do Airbnb, just because it is so time consuming. Look, when you have a client in your vacation rental and you don't have any red wine glasses and you don't have white wine and they want red wine, and you're trying to protect your property from getting a bad review, you got to go over there at 10 o'clock at night or whatever it is and drop off that case of red wine glasses. We've done it. So if you got that, that drive in you to do that, by all means, it's just not for us.
Yeah, you want to have a good work-life balance with your family and everything else. I mean, if you're bringing over Riedel Crystal at 11 o'clock for a particular wine connoisseur, it can get a little bit overwhelming, can it?
Hey, we've seen it. We've seen it all. We've actually, it's crazy. We've actually had a production company from HGTV. They filmed Brianna and I and the kids for a day. We did a teaser reel back in the day, and that was one of the stories we told. Was about that Airbnb vacation rental, and So we've done it all.
So how do people find you, Josh?
NOLArentalproperty.com. Pretty easy to find. NOLArentalproperty.com or Facebook, JW Property Services. You can find us there, and or 504-648-4073.
I love that domain, NOLArentalproperty.com. That's pretty simple, isn't it?
Yep, can't go wrong.
Well, definitely. Thank you for your time today. And folks, if you're in the investment arena, whether it be real estate to buy or hold, or just get some advice, you definitely should reach out to Josh and Brianna. They know what they're doing. They care about what they're doing, and they're not all over the board. They got their nose to the grindstone in the given market. We were just talking about it. Although it looks like the New Orleans market softened up a little bit, hopefully the interest rates have, have maybe bought us some time. So it is a good time. You heard him say he's investing, he's buying. So reach out to them on Facebook, JW Property Services. He also gave you the number, or NOLA. What was it again?
NOLArentalproperty.com.
NOLArentalproperty.com. So y'all have an awesome day, and we'll see you on the next version of the Healthy Wealth Show, where we help you navigate the valleys of life. And let JW and Josh and Brianna help you navigate the valleys of owning property. Thank you again, Josh.
Appreciate it. Adios.